go. That'll do. Right then. Here we go. So we're going to start in frogs this morning. Starting off with frogs. Been here before. So come into all fours. Go wide as you comfortably can with the knees, and then slightly wider with the feet. So wherever you get to there, really, depending on knees probably, and then starting to rock forward and back. Typically, the wider you go, the harder it's going to be to get to go back, but that's okay. You know, that's the whole point. So you can play with a smaller range of movement, and you'll find, or a smaller knee placement, and you'll find that you can go further back. But I'm aiming for wide this morning. Deeper movement into the hip joints. So rock it forward and back. And then when you're ready, coming down onto the elbows, same movement, just on the elbows, just alters it slightly. Try and make sure that your tailbone is lifted, you're not tucking under. And we're going to stay on the elbows this morning to do the internal rotation of your thigh bone. So as you come forward, you're going to pick up right foot towards right shoulder. So I'm turning the thigh bone in, placing it down, rocking back, coming forward, picking up the left foot towards the left shoulder, placing it down and rocking back. So forward, right foot, rock back, forward, left foot, rock back. So just working through that, I'm kind of going a little bit quicker than I normally would, just a little bit more flowy. Oh, hello, little furry helper. Cat's come to assist. Last couple there. Last one. And then slowly coming out of that, hike the knees back together, turn it sideways on. So you're going to be kneeling up this time, feet flat as best you can. And even there might just be a bit of a stretch depending on how tight your quads are this morning and how tight the front of your shins are. But for our purposes, we're going to lean back on our hands. Get your hands in a comfortable position, open the chest, pulling the shoulders back, and then lifting the hips up. So you get even more of a stretch into the front of the quad and the hip flexor at front. I'm going to hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release the hips back down. Same thing, lift, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. One more time like that, lifting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And then we're going to do just 10 pumps. So we're going to lift and lower. So we go 10 and lower, 9, you get the idea. Lift, lift, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, and then release. And then coming to our 90-90 position, try to decide which way to go, I'll face you. So our 90-90 position, or thereabouts, with the hips and the knees, squaring off your chest over the front leg, same as we did yesterday, just rock you forward over the front leg. So tent the fingers, chest over the front leg and release. And again, chest over the front leg and release. Just dead relax. You see there's no tension in my arms. I'm more or less letting gravity do the work. Dead gentle. Excuse me. Last couple on this side. Let's go with that last one. And release, and then we're going to switch sides. So again, as close to 90-90 as you can, allowing for one side being tighter than the other, in my case, this side. And the same thing, squaring off towards the front, tent the fingers and rock forward and release. Now keeping my chest lifted and pointing forward as opposed to kind of rounding. I can look like I can go a lot further if I round my spine, but I'm trying to keep my chest up so I get more of a stretch into the leg and the glute on that side rather than the spine. So last two. And last one, and release. And then we're coming over onto all fours. And we're working through our knee hover progressions. So we've been working on the knee hover. We've done some donkey kicks, we've done some wrist touches. Today I want to work through, or trying to get to potentially a crawl towards the end of this next sort of fortnight. So opposite arm, opposite leg lift. So while we're here with our knees down, just practice picking up one knee in one hand. So you're taking the weight on 2 points. So opposite knee, opposite hand lift and release. Opposite knee, opposite hand and release. And it's not a big lift. I'm not bending the elbow. I'm just transferring the weight from side to side. And I'm trying to pick up my hand and knee at about the same time. And that's relatively easy here to go opposite hand, opposite knee at the same time. But when you get into your knee hover, it becomes a little bit more tricky because your body will want to keep 3 points of contact instead of 2. You'll see what I mean when you get there. So last couple like this, just so you get a feel for what we're going to be doing. Last one. And then come back to all fours. Make sure the toes are tucked under if they're not already. And we're going to come up onto our knee hover. And I'm quite happy with you to lift the knees as much as you need to. You find that they will come up a lot higher as we start to lift. So once you're in your knee hover, and you can see how high my knees are for this, I'm going to lift one hand and one foot. Pause and then replace. Lift opposite hand, opposite foot. Pause and replace. And we're just going to keep switching sides. If you need to rest and come out of it, feel free. Otherwise, aiming to get to the point where you can lift the hand and the foot at roughly the same time. Switching and wobbling, switching and wobbling. Last two, last one. Nearly lost it on the last one. Well done if you managed all of them. Come off your wrist and give your wrists a little circle. Just take the pressure out of them. Right, so we're going to get a bit more in depth on side planks today. We're coming back to your to your knee hover. Do not worry, I'll be delighted to hear. But we're going to have a bit of a play with side planks. Got a couple of people in the group that are like, oh, side planks, side planks. And they are probably, there's so much that can go wrong in a side plank. So we're going to have a play with the progressions today. So I'm going to start on my elbow. You want your legs as in line with your body as you can, but as you can see, both my knees are bent this morning. So both knees bent. And if you like, this is your starting side plank. So from here, press down into the knees, press down into the elbow and lift the hips. So here's your kind of, I don't want to use the words like basic and levels and stuff like that, but this is a good starting point for a side plank. So you hold and then release. Go again, lift and hold. So the key with all of these sorts of movements is the control with which you come out of them. So holding a little bit longer. What you don't want to do is abandon ship. So you always want to stop doing something before you get to the point where you can't do something. So on the way down, it's a very light touch. Everything's still under control. And then I'm not going floppy at the bottom. Yeah. So I'm pausing, still lifted, and then lifting the hips up. So what I mean by lifted is I'm not sinking into the mat when I get to the bottom. So holding. And you might be able to hold longer, particularly here, or you might be able to hold for less time, and that's fine. You're just kind of building it up and slowly down. Touch down and then lift. So small range of movement in this position, but still a dead useful exercise. and then release back down, and then coming onto the other side. So the side plank, people always think it's about the core, and it is. Once you've got organized, lift the hips, but it's also about shoulder stability. Can you maintain, this lift through the shoulder, you're not collapsing? And it's also about your side glutes, which are the ones that you need for your running, balance, walking, all that kind of good stuff. Touch your bum down and then lift again. So you get lots of benefit from this, but it means that there's an awful lot that could go wrong. So if you've got a weakness in your obliques, so the muscles down the side, that could cause an issue. If you're weak through the shoulder or the glute, perhaps working out which bit is causing you the problem. Gentle touch down and then lift. Make sure you're breathing. Gentle touch down and lift. So I'm not pausing too long at the bottom, but you can. Quite a lot of this stuff, it's a matter of playing with it, finding out what works. Gentle touch down, and one last time, lifting on this side. And slowly coming out of that, and then turning back, coming onto your all fours again, and coming back to our 4-point plank and our foot and hand lift. So we're going to work through 10, just 5 on each side. So 5 lists, 10 in total. So hovering the knees, and when you're ready, opposite hand, opposite foot, and switching. Last couple. Anybody else got one side that's easier than the other? And then lower the knees down again. Come back off your wrist. Give them a little bit of a circle. And then coming back down onto your side. So this time, rather than putting the elbow down, we're going to have the hand out. Still knees bent. So it looks a bit more like this. So the trick with this one, if the hand's under the shoulder, you're going to find it very difficult to move. And your shoulder's going to collapse up towards your ear. So you want to take the hand a little bit further away, and it depends on how long your body parts are. So you play with this position of the hand to get into the right spot. You'll see what I mean when we come up. So hand slightly away from the body. Same again, push into the knees, push into the hand, push the floor away, and come up here. So for some people, this is a progression, and for some people, it's a regression. Doesn't work for me. It doesn't, don't know, just doesn't work for me. It's not one that I use very often. It has its value. It has its value when your legs are long, which we'll see in a minute, and then come back down. So I like this one from a side bend perspective. So you're going to take your top hand, and as you lift the hips, you're going to reach that top hand all the way over. Keep pushing the floor away with your bottom hand and lift your hips a little bit higher. So you get a lengthening down the side body, which is relatively nice. Breathe, etc. And then slowly release. You're going to touch your bottom down, hand comes down and over, and then go again. Lift and reach. Breathe. Head position. I quite like looking up. I'm kind of looking under my armpit, really. It just gets the neck involved a little bit. And then slowly release. We're going to do one more. Hips touch down, nice and gentle. Make sure you're pushing the floor away with your arm still, and then up and over. And slowly release. And then I'm going to switch sides. Then we get on the other side. So set up. I find it quite tricky to get my legs in line here, and I don't think they necessarily need to be. So there's a slight bend in my middle section, but it's the hand placement. Yep, all set up. Good stuff. Same thing again. I'm going to go straight into it. So I'm going to push the floor away with the hand and the knees, lift the arm up and over, and reach overhead. You can turn the head to look up if you wish, or keep it looking forward or down even. Either way. I quite like up. Breathe while you're here. And slowly release. Hips touch nice and gentle. And then we go again. Reaching up and over. Reach, reach, reach. And then release one last time. Push the floor away. Reach the arm. Lift the hips as high as you can. Almost like a rainbow shape. And then release back down. And we come back to our knee hover. So I'm giving you nice stuff to do in between the horrible stuff. Very soon it will all be horrible. Are we ready? All in position. So 10 again. I'm doing them at this sort of speed. Switch, 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 switch. In other words, I'm not hanging about too much this time. Yeah. So same thing as before. Hover the knees. When you're ready, we switch, 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 switch. You get the idea. Go 4, 3, 2. Last one. And release the knees. Good, good. Onto your side. So then we start to add in long legs. There's tons more variations, but for our purposes today, long legs. So legs are stacked, which adds a little bit of a balance challenge. You can bring one forward, which helps balance. Up to you. But from there, on the elbow, same as before, make sure you're not sinking into that elbow, push the floor away already, and then lift the hips up. And it's this top shoulder you want to check in with because it makes it easier to rotate forward. So rotate that top shoulder back. So we're holding on this side. I'm just going to do one each side, but we're going to hold for quite a while. Say quite a while. Make sure you breathe in. And then slowly release. And I'm going to go straight to the other side. Feet stacked. Same again, push the floor away, make sure you're not sinking into your top, not your top shoulder, your bottom shoulder, and then lift the hips up. If you do find yourself rotating forward, rotate the top shoulder back. There's all sorts you can do with this top arm. You know, it's sometimes nice to reach. Or you can keep it on your hip. And you can keep it, I use it really to kind of check in that I'm actually working, but this is my next favorite. Hold and breathe, hold and breathe. See if you can lift your hips up any more. Anything else in there? And then slowly release down. Well done. Back to your knee hover. Toes are tucked. It's the last one you'll be delighted to hear. When we're ready, here we go. Hover the knees. And we go switch, switch, switch. Last two, last one, and release the knees down. Again, sit back off your wrists, give them a wiggle. And then coming back, back to our side plank. So this time, I'm going to do the same arm lifty one. But instead of having your knees completely straight, you want a very slight bend in them so that when you come up, they will almost straighten. It looks like this. So as you come up, you can straighten your legs. But they need a slight bend in them because if you go too long, you're going to find it quite hard to lift. There's sort of not enough room. So a slight bend in the knees. And once we've cracked all that, arms slightly away from the body, same thing. Push down into the feet this time and the hand and come up into a larger side plank. So if balance is an issue in this position, definitely cock one foot forward. If you could keep them stacked, even better. So you can add in the reach over here. You can add in the pushing of the floor away so you come up in more of an arch. This is the last progression. I'm not going to do anything harder than this. There's all sorts of stuff, you know, there's leg lifts and all sorts. If the arm's too much, you can go to a star shape. And if holding it's too much, you can simply come up and down. Everybody, all the way down. Nicely done. You manage to hold that for a length of time and then coming over to the other side. Excuse me with my frog. I think it's just the morning time. Does it? Slight bend in the knee. Bottom hand just outside the shoulder. Again, if you feel like it's your balance at the issue, make sure you bring one foot forward and then takes that kind of quiveriness out of it. Otherwise, same thing. Come up into your side plank first. So you're one long line. Hold and breathe. If you want to add in the arm and then the pushing of the floor away so you come up more into a rainbow. And then release. Everything comes back down, gentle touch down as best you can. And release, you come off your wrists again, give them a wiggle. And then we're going to come up, we're going to use, are we going to, yeah, let's use a band, medium band. And we'll go with it round ankles. I can't not do a balance exercise. Conscious of the time though. Seems to have flown past this morning. Right, so medium band, I'm going to do toe taps. So sinking down, take your weight onto whichever leg, let's say left leg. And then with the right leg, I'm going to reach out to the side and tap the toe. But once you've reached, all my weight's still on my left leg, but I'm hoping you can see that my right leg is straight. If you've bent on that leg, it usually means that the band's too heavy. So if you can't straighten the leg out, go down a band. But otherwise, chest lifted, tap in, tap out, tap in, tap out. So I'm going straight out to the side. If I was a clock face and 12 was up in front of me, this would be number 3. You might be doing the other side, in which case it'd be number 9, but you get the idea. Tapping in, tapping out. And then, so if that's number 3 to me, I'm going to tap at number sort of 5. So slightly behind me, behind and out. But the work really is all in this glute on the standing leg. We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And release, come on up, then sink down onto the other side. We're going straight into it. Get yourself prepared, reach out, tap and tap in. Aiming to get the leg straight. So now I'm at number 9 on my clock face again. And then I'm at number 7. Last couple. And last one. And release. And you can take your band off. So we're going to come into reach and lunge, which we've done before, into a balance. So let's say we go with the right foot. If we're going with the right foot stepping forward, I'm going to take the left arm up into the air. I'm not worried about my mat slipping, so I'm going to come up onto the concrete. So step forward with the right leg, big long lunge, get yourself organized, chest nice and lifted, and then hinging at the hip, you're going to reach forward as far as you can. Try not to just collapse over that front leg. So chest stays lifted, I'm looking forward. And then coming back up, vertical, and then push the floor away with the standing leg. You can either tap it down just to get your balance or come straight up into your balance, single leg balance. And we're going to keep going on the same side. So again, you can either put it down briefly, just so you get yourself organized, and then step forward, and then reach. Or you come vertical again, push the floor away, and come straight up as best you can into your balance. And then stepping forward with that front leg, big, big, giant step. Reach. Come back up vertical first, push the floor away into your balance. It's how much power you put behind that thrusting the floor away to get you right up into your balance. Go again, reach, reach and lunge, push the floor away, cracked it into your balance. Enough oomph, not enough to push you over backwards. Same again, big step forward, reach and lunge, come up vertical, push the floor away into your balance. Well done. I'm going to switch sides. So we're stepping forward with the left leg, means the right leg goes up, the right arm goes up. So same again, just to get organized first, big step forward with the left without the balance. And if you've just stood on a stone, which I have, bear with me 1 second. And then reaching forward, the right hand, coming back up vertical, push the floor away into your balance. Pause. And then same again, we're going to start reach. Make sure you come up vertical first before you push back into your balance. And then same again, giant step forward. Reach. Back up vertical. Push the floor away. Come up into your balance. Couple more on this side. Long lunge. Reach forward. Back up into your balance. Oh, I can't do it on this side. What's going on? Last one. Lunge. Reach. Vertical. And balance. Good stuff. And release. So just coming back down onto the mat. Just to finish off. You go nice and wide with the legs, bent knees. But as wide as you can kind of comfortably go with the legs. And then we're going to lean back on the hands and switch side to side. So just loosening things off. This is where we're going to end. Finish off with a stretch here. So kind of back where we started. So we're coming back to our 90-90 position as best we can. Might feel different now after things have loosened off. Now go square yourself off to that front leg again. And this time, again, same thing, keeping the chest lifted. This time as you come over, we're going to hold. So you're stretching into all the muscles that we've worked, which is fine. You're going to take your hand, the one that makes sense, and place it against the foot. So it's almost like I'm trying to push my foot across my body. I'm actually putting some work into that. So I'm pressing into my foot. It's not moving. I'm not actually pushing it anyway. I'm trying to push my leg across. So I'm pushing, pushing, pressing, pressing, pressing hard as you can. And then stop the push and just see if you can get a little bit further over that front leg. Again, without collapsing, keeping the chest relatively lifted. And then from there, same again, push into that front foot and then just see if you can rotate and away from that foot. So I'm twisting. So I'm going more over my thigh and trying to get my chest down over my thigh now. I'm still pushing into my foot. Push, push, push. Stop with the pushing and just see if you can get a little bit further. And then from there, without the foot on the hand comes down. So you've got both hands now to help you twist a little bit further. And then slowly release out of that, and then we go to the other side. So set up on the other side, as close to 90-90 as you can. Hands come down either side first, and you chest over the shin, Breathe and hold. Very good, 90-90. Can't get my angles. And then pressing into the foot, like I'm trying to push it across the mat. So it's not down, it's across. And the foot into the hand, hand into the foot. And then release the pressure and just see if you can release the chest over a little bit further. And same thing, pushing into the foot. Release the pressure, and then again, see if you can get that little bit further. And then planting the hands. So one hand in front of the shin, the other hand can come a little bit further out. So you've got some help from your hands, if you like, to help twist you further around. So now I'm coming chest over thigh. And then if you can, a little bit further, see if you can twist. It's almost like I'm now twisting my torso, so I can go a little bit further, looking back behind me. And then slowly release and breathe a sigh of relief that that's all over. And I'm a little bit late with my timings, but I hope it was worth it. Or not, as the case may be. Thanks for the thumbs up, Nicola. Barbara, have I killed you or the dog? Or are you all right? Right, chaps, thank you again. I will see you soon. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, if not before. See you later.